California of the past.
I am California of the past. I am California of the past.
My name is Linda Canada, and I was born in Buffalo, New York in 1949. My parents were college students, and we lived in what was known as a cold water flat. It wasn't very fancy. Buffalo is known as one of the coldest places in the United States, and when my mom used to wash out my diapers and hang them outside, sometimes they froze, and she had to thaw them out on the radiator before she could put them on me. One of my earliest memories is having my family around our round dining room table. I had aunts and uncles and my grandma and grandpa and 3 male cousins, and so we used to get together very frequently. We did a lot of things together in the spring and the summertime. We had a little swimming pool, wading pool in the backyard that my mom would fill up with air and then fill up with water. We'd splash around in it. We'd roller skate and ride our bikes. I loved the garden. One of my favorite pictures of myself, I'm probably 2 years old and I've got almost my whole face buried in a tulip, smelling the tulip scent. I used to help in the garden. I used to help rake the leaves. Just had a lot of fun. Our friends, we used to do what we called wagon train, and we would get all of our little red wagons together and hook them all up and go tooling around the sidewalks and just having a great old time. And in the summertime, our parents would use the big open lawns. There weren't really any fences. They'd use the lawns for croquet matches. So they'd set up these croquet wickets and we'd play long into the night because it's pretty far north, and so it was light, very late there. In the wintertime, though, those same fields we would flood with water, and those became our ice skating rinks. Now, it was really pretty severe weather. Sometimes we couldn't get to school. There was one time when I stayed at my grandparents' house, and my grandfather dropped me off at school during a snowstorm, and he didn't realize that it was a snow day, and there wasn't going to be any school. So here I was, maybe 7 years old, wandering through the school looking for somebody who could call my parents to come pick me up because I was all alone at the school that day. Well, the snow was really deep, and sometimes it drifted over the back door of our house. We couldn't get out, and that kind of made my mom a little bit crazy. And so she decided to go visit her parents who had moved to California. So we went in the summertime, and we visited Grandma and Grandpa, and they took us to all the beautiful tourist places like Disneyland and Marineland and Knott's Berry Farm. I remember they took us to the beach for the first time. It was the first time I'd ever seen the ocean, and I was just enchanted with it. And I was particularly surprised that the ocean had a smell, a scent. I thought it smelled like tomato soup, but I guess what I was actually seeing or scenting was the salt in the air. Well, we enjoyed California very much, and Mom took us home on the train, and there we were in Buffalo, and it was a really difficult winter of 1959. The snow covered the back door. We couldn't get out. On Easter Sunday, March 29th of that year, my girlfriend and I made a snow camel in the backyard. Now, don't ask me why it was a camel and not a rabbit, but March 29th, and there was still a lot of snow on the ground. I was very sick that year. I had pneumonia. I had to stay home from school a long time, so long that it was springtime and I was watching the bulbs grow as I was sitting out on the front stoop enjoying the sun. Well, my mom said that's just enough for her, and she decided that she wanted to move to California, so she convinced my dad to do that, and we went on a cross-country driving trip to go to California. We went through the cornfields of Kansas, and we crossed the Continental Divide, and we saw Dinosaur National Park. We even stopped in Las Vegas. But we finally got to our destination, Redondo Beach, California. So I went from living in the very cold Northeast to living on the beach in sunny Southern California. And of course, I had to learn all kinds of different activities. I joined the Girl Scouts, and I went camping, and I roller skated outside, and I went to the beach, and you could do that all year round.